I am struggling today. And I have done at least 3 videos where I said this is the last one I'm starting, or this is my last attempt. I've done several attempts today just to give up on them and, throw them away. And I feel like I know I want to do one for the sake of mainly see how long it takes me to get 300, right? So I think I'm at like 272 or something now videos. Not gonna swear to that, would have to double check, but still, like, I've been kind of hit and miss on them here lately, and I was thinking, okay, how long will it take me to get to 300? Because I want to do 300 before I hit the 2-year anniversary of doing the channel, right? So also, with the exception of the part where I stuck my finger in it and kind of messed it up right there, I feel like this is a really good makeup day and hair day, and I really like this outfit. And so my vanity really wants me to go ahead and do the thing anyway. I will say I feel like some of these attempts, some of the failed attempts, have helped me to be able to clear some of the icky energy because I have been feeling like super sluggish every single time I've tried to do these videos, and this is the first one that I feel less like I'm getting ready to fall asleep while I'm talking. So I think the attempt at trying to do them seems like it has helped me to clear out some energy or some of that density. But yeah, like, it's kind of just vanity, I like it. And my nose, I don't know what the fuck's my nose is doing here lately. I don't know if it's like got pulled on or what the heck is going on. It was almost normal again a couple days ago, and then now it's back to being all jacked up again. So I don't know, just my face, no big deal. But yeah, so now I don't remember what I was trying to talk about, so I'll go here. Okay, so last night when I was over here doing a video, I started getting kind of jumpy, and it's like, what? It's like something feels weird here, and I don't know what it is exactly, right? Of course, this is the parking spot. I mean, these 3 parking spots are usually where I go. Obviously, right now the sun is difficult trying to not fuck up my lighting because it'll be going down behind these houses. I mean, it's right in that icky spot where there's like weird lighting. But like once it gets dark, then there's a street light right here. But like the past couple of days, once it comes on, it's like I still have the weird lighting across my face with the shadows and everything. So it's like I was trying to avoid that. So I came over here a little earlier. I've got 111, 222, and 333, just so you know. And yeah, so last night I moved and went over this way to have the light more in my face, and it was better, but I still kind of had to slouch, so it wasn't perfect by any means. But I was noticing, now my stomach's making noises. Cool. Ah, well, this is just that kind of day, I guess. So anyway, I move over and I back into the slot over there, so there's more light to have on my face, and I like started getting jumpy, and it's like something is off and I don't know what it is. When I was getting ready to leave, I realized there was not a single light on in this parking lot to my right. And there's like, okay, so the parking lot that I'm in now is looking at the gymnasium, and then the parking lot over there is just in front of the rest of the school, and then there's the bus lot on the other side. And all of that was dark. It's like, I think that's why it was weird. But like I started getting jumpy because I like started seeing like weird flashes. And at one point I thought it was the little metal thing on the dog seat belt back there. And it might have been, but it was still just kind of trippy. But it was weird, like when I was finishing up the video, I had mentioned that I was trying to sell my bed. And I had decided to keep the newer bed and go ahead and get rid of the old bed, even though I was kind of hoping for the money out of it, get more money out of it. I probably could have, I guess, if I would have marked it a little higher, but I was really not feeling like it was hugely, it's a used bed. It's an 18-year-old Tempur-Pedic mattress. I was like, how many people actually come on here and buy beds this way? I don't like that idea. Although I guess realistically it's not that different from if you go to stay at a hotel and you don't know how many people have ever been in those beds or what they've done or any of that stuff. So I guess it's not really strange according to that logic, but it still seemed weird to me. Anyway, I was gonna just market the bed for free, despite that I wanted money out of it. I really wanted it gone, and I was afraid it wasn't gonna go. But when I realized what all I had and remembered the mattress topper and everything with it, then I was like, yeah, what the hell? I'll put it on for $40, and then I would at least get something out of it, right? So I did that. And I put it on Facebook and OfferUp. I had the mattress topper, mattress, and the box springs, queen size, for $40. Which, in thinking about it, that is still a lot that you're getting for $40. But still, I wanted it to go and was hoping it would go fast. So when I got over here, before I did the video, I split it up and had on Facebook and had the mattress topper separate from the bed and the box springs. And, figured maybe I'd go that way. Well, when I was doing the video, I got a message from somebody that was interested in the bed. And at first I didn't really take it seriously, just because the way it came up, I think he must have just clicked on whatever OfferUp has for the automated message or whatever, because it came through and it said, I would like to buy your queen mattress, topper mattress, and box springs for $40. And so it's I don't know, it just felt weird at first. And then, once I started talking to him a little more, at one point he finally said, but I don't need the box springs. And that, for some reason, that was the thing that tipped me off to it was actually somebody that was legitimately interested in it. It's we're having this conversation, he doesn't actually want it, does he? But once he said that, it's nah, he wants it. So yeah, it ended up working out. But anyway, when I was going to leave here, the school, and of course this road behind me that you can't see, through my dirty window, as much as anything, all my dirty windows. The outside got a bath the other day. The inside has not. But anyway, the road back here is currently still a 1 lane. So I have to go out, down, and then kind of loop around. And it's this whole, I don't know, it's a whole freaking endeavor. I live 2 minutes down the road that way, and it takes me a good 10 minutes to get home because I have to go around the scenic route in order to get there. But when I was going over there, it's there were weird, it's there were chunks of lights that were on, and then there were big chunks of lights that were off. Not like the practice field over there for the football stuff. It's that those lights aren't on once it's dark, so that part wasn't weird, but it's just the miscellaneous lights that were off around the schools was weird. Normally I'll skate over here and it's fine. But it's something is weird. It's oh, it's dark. Yeah, that's why it's weird. But when I go over there, I stopped to send this guy another message because it was, like I said, I was getting a little jumpy just because it felt weird. And yet the guy's talking and I'm not wanting to like stop the conversation until I get home because I'm afraid, like the other day I had somebody I was talking to and I was like, hold on, let me get back to you. And then when I got back to her, like she didn't respond until the next day. But I mean, it ended up being fine and she still wanted the stuff. But it is still just a thing, right? So I'm trying to have the conversation now that I'm taking him seriously. I'm actually wanting it. So I'll hit the stop signs and I'll respond to something, or I'll pull over in some parking spots and just, sit there for a second while I send the message. And then made it to the other stop sign, getting ready to pull out onto the next road. And then it was like, and then the conversation was over. I sent him the address of the storage unit and everything so we could figure out how long it would take him and all that crap. So I'm over there and I'm in this parking lot that has some lights on, but not all of them. And it's just kind of another weird hodgepodge of them. And it was really weird because there's like this flash of white and it looked like something moving past my window. And it's like, the fuck was that? Because, I drive an SUV, so my windows aren't real low, but it felt like it was like just moving past the window. It's like, that's weird. So it kind of made me a little more creeped out, right? Stupid trucks. But yeah, I honestly, with all the other weird stuff that has been coming about for me with like picking up on different messages and stuff, and just opening up to like the clairaudience side of things and realizing how much I am picking up messages and always have been through like movies and music and all this stuff. It made me wonder if maybe like it's not like a clairvoyance thing as well. And I'm sure if I mention it, if I go to class tomorrow night and talk to the group about it, I'm sure they'll be like, "Ooh, you're like angels," that kind of a thing. And honestly, I can make that make sense in my head, but it still feels weird. And it was still like just the whole thing. It's like everything just felt weird, and maybe that's why I've been so slow on figuring out the video thing today. I don't know. It's just the whole thing, until just now when suddenly I'm less weird than I was earlier. I mean, I guess I'm really not. I'm just I'm just in a better mood and feel less like I'm crawling through sludge. So yeah. Anyway, I did get the bed sold today, and I was really confused when the guy got there. He said he was like 5 minutes away. I was like, all right, I'll be there. He said, I'm behind the building in front of the storage unit. Let me know when you're here and I'll just, put the code in, we'll go in. There's this little Volkswagen car, and my thought was, I was expecting a bed, and I was just like, where are you going to put it in that? And, I mean, it worked out like I anticipated it more when I gave it further thought, but I don't know, it's just weird. He came in, the first thing I did was give him the mattress topper, which I had in trash bags. He was like, oh, perfect, because it was all rolled up and everything and covered on both ends. And he was like, that'll fit in the car. It's like, yep. So he put that in the car, and then the mattress rode on top of the car. So that was kind of exciting to watch, I guess. I will say that mattress is immensely easier to pick up and move when there's another person, as I expected that it would be. But because I am not asking my family for help since my brother's gone, it's a pain in the ass to do by yourself. And I told him, it's like, I moved this thing all the way over here by myself yesterday, and then realized it was apparently weighs 118 pounds, which I guess that just kind of, I wouldn't have expected that for a bed, but for a Tempur-Pedic, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, he said he's getting ready to go to college and realized he didn't have a bed yet. So hey, opportunity. It's like, well, that's, yeah, I mean, really a good bed for college kids. So hey, by all means, enjoy. But yeah, he strapped it to the roof of his car and all that fun stuff. So, mattress is gone. I got $40 out of it. I'm happy there. I still got a box springs to see about getting rid of, which is really not that problematic, because if nobody wants it, I'll leave it posted for a few days, and if nobody wants it, then I'll just bust it apart and throw it in the trash. So at least there's that option. That's a weird place to choose to turn around. Anyway. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so I did a video the other day. Actually, one thing, since I'm Horus makes me think of it. Yesterday, I started telling one story and then derailed in the middle of it and wandered off again, like I do. But it was like the Twin Flame Association, and then like the Horus and Ra piece, where, okay, for like for reasons that I will include at a later date, it occurred to me yesterday, like I was, it's something with, the Eye of Ra, right? And of course, I wear my little Eye of Horus necklace, and these are Horus earrings today. And for whatever reason, Ra came to mind. And then I started thinking about like the just different levels of things again. And it's like, okay, so the Eye of Ra, that is the side that's like, I think deals with, what is it, judgment, destruction, those kind of things. And then the Eye of Horus, which the reason that I wear this, or largely the reason that I wear this, is because it's associated with healing and protection, right? So it's like the Ra side is the destructive side, and then the Horus side is the healing and protection, right? There too, it is said that the right side of the body is the masculine side, and the feminine, or the left side, is the feminine side. Which for most people, that kind of makes sense if you consider that, okay, the masculine aspect is that of action oriented and, being, there's another word that I had with that, but I'm derailing again. It's the action-oriented side, right? And the left side, okay, so right side, which most people, obviously not all, but that tends to be the default, right? You're right-handed and all that crap. Of course, there are those that can go between both. I think my brother can write with both, both fine. It's like mine looks like a little, it's not pretty if I try to do that with right left-handed. It's just a hot mess. So I don't do it very much. Man, look at the dog nose glow. Oh, this is fucking lightning, man. Anyway, so the feminine side being, okay, in this Horus side of things, the healing and protective, that makes sense. The feminine aspect being also receptive, right? So yeah. need to stop looking at things, especially with the sunlight, because I keep distracting myself. So I was thinking about, you know, the raw side, the masculine side, the action-oriented side, the giving side. When I was going to Lanita's classes, Inner Path, back when I first started in January of 2024, she said that the left side is the receiving, or the left hand is the receiving hand, the right hand is the giving hand, because of that masculine and feminine thing, right? So when we were handing things, or when she was showing us like different rocks and stuff, she would hand it to somebody, so it was like we were taking it with our left hands. And then I had the issues with, okay, so when I went to donate platelets at one point, usually I was using my right arm. For whatever reason, even though this had come up, I think, the week before, where Lanita said the left side is the receiving side. For whatever reason, that week I changed and was going to have them take the blood from my left arm. And everything went wrong, right? It was like, I watched I think it was a Cosmic Kin tarot reading. I think his page is like Cosmic Utopia or something, but it goes by Cosmic Kin, Kin. He said there's something about the left hand. There's something about, stop making noises again, damn it. I don't know, there were like 3 things, but one of them had to do with the hands. And then I go, and this is after Lanita's class, where she says that the left hand is the receiving side and the left hand is, or the right hand is the giving side. And for whatever reason, I switch it up at the blood center and everything goes wrong. And it's like, there were these things that happened on the way to the blood center that were right aligned with my appointment, or like with what I had heard from the tarot reading, you know. And I want to say there was something with a number, there was something with hawks, and I saw a hawk on the way to the blood center, and then I saw another one on the way leaving, and then the number, and then the hand, right? I don't remember all the details. I feel like I did a video whenever this whole thing went through. I won't swear to that, but I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before. So I decided to give with my left hand. And even the shirt, man. They hook me up and get everything going. And before too long, randomly, I have to pee. And it's like, crap. It's like I'm in the middle of donating blood or platelets here. It's like I don't really want to, tell them I can't do the full donation or whatever. But I started getting a little squirmy because I had to pee. And it got to the point, like, I kept trying to talk myself out of it, and it just kept not working. And like me thinking about trying to not let it be an issue made it a bigger issue. Anyway, I got squirmy, and then at some point I started, I would get really, really hot, and then all at once really, really cold. And then, I had like my hoodie over me, and I had a blanket that they had over me, but then it's like all at once I'd have to move the sweatshirt because I just started getting really, really hot. And then it's like once I got it off, then it was like, then I'm getting really, really cold again. So I'm putting it back. But all the movement jacked up the needle in my arm also. And at one point, the machine starts screaming. And she comes, or the girl that's working with me comes over and is like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I don't know, but I really have to pee, and I was trying not to have it be an issue, but it's kind of an issue. So it was just like this whole meltdown. And it was kind of funny because it was one of those things that, since it was so early on when I had started going, that, I actually ended up with a good connection with some of the people there, particularly because of that whole thing. Anyway, when the needle slipped, and at one point, I think the first lady that got me set up asked me if it was all okay, and it's like, I think so, but I was still kind of distracted, so was it really? I don't know. But I said it was, but then when the other girl was, like, adjusting it, she was like, you might have a little bit of a bruise. So I was like, cool, right? So, anyway, I ended up only doing, what is it, 2 units or whatever, rather than the normal 3, whatever they call it for that. And, I felt bad, but then at the same time, once I peed, I felt great, but then I still felt bad because I wasn't able to do the whole donation, but it was still a donation. So, but yeah, it's like, interestingly, I discovered that 2 units doesn't make me have heartburn a lot after that. 3 units, I generally had heartburn somewhere along the line. Apparently, it's something to do with the anticoagulants in the stuff that they put back in your system. The stuff to keep your blood from clotting before it goes back in your arm. And apparently that is what causes heartburn with some people. But, like I would go donate platelets and then spend the next week with heartburn and not really know what was happening, and I'd, be just living on Tums and whatnot. Well, then one day I go in and another lady's like, "Can I get you some Tums or anything?" It's like, that's a thing? So then it's like, oh, so maybe it's doing this thing that is making me have heartburn. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, that's the thing. Anyway, on this day, when everything's going wrong, I realized it's like, well, that makes sense if the left side is the giving, or if I cannot say this right. If the left side is the receiving hand and the right side is the giving, then it makes sense that I should be giving from the right and not the left. I mean, although some people do it just fine and it's not a problem. For whatever reason, with the lessons that I'm learning, it was an issue, and then, I have done it with my left arm, I think one other time since then, and it was fine. But mostly I just stick with the right. But anyway, another random tangent, and that still wasn't the story that I wandered off from last night. But anyway, all these things with the, the right and the left, the masculine, the feminine, the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Ra, right? So the Eye of Horus would represent the feminine qualities of, wanting to heal and, being protective generally, right? And the Ra side, more, I really wish I remembered what I had written down after I looked it up the other day. Destruction, I'm pretty sure was, something. But anyway, but like it was, I can make that make sense, right? So anyway, the story last night, I talked about how, like, with the twin flame thing, there was the instance before I started setting boundaries with the people in my immediate surroundings. Before I knew that was a thing that I needed to do, I was made aware of the twin flame connection, and it's like, all right, so I don't get it, still not 100% convinced, but also, what do I have to lose, right? So, as far as I'm concerned, didn't have anything to lose, so what the fuck, okay? Okay, mystery voice, intuition thing that's telling me that this is the one, I'll bite, but I still don't get it, and I still, just all that kind of, all right, prove it kind of a thing. But then, because of my own worthiness wounds or fear of abandonment, I think was the bigger one on that one. For the fear of abandonment thing, there was something that came up, and I was just really feeling bad about myself and questioning my, this person that, I have my intuitive insight is telling me is the person that I've looked for my entire life. I'm struggling with truly accepting this idea, right? So since I was doubting it, since I was leaning into my fear of abandonment in that moment and my feelings of unworthiness, he posted a picture like the next day. And mind you, never met this dude, where he's with this girl and she's got her hand on his chest, like she's on his left side. And it was like just this sensation of just absolute rage just like washed over me. And it was just like this really intense, jealous feeling. And it's like, I don't know this guy. What is this all about, right? So where I diverged from the part that I was trying to explain last night was I wandered off on the path of realizing the worthiness wound was the big thing that kind of invited this other thing in, right? Where this girl's in this picture with him and, she's on the left side and she's got her hand on his chest and it's just like this whole sense of rage and jealousy or whatever. It's like, I don't know this guy. I am not okay with this feeling when I don't know what's going on here. And so then, the pieces come together with the support of it being this worthiness wound and fear of abandonment, right? Fear of God abandoning me, essentially. And a while after that, I kind of moved beyond it. It's like, all right, that makes sense, so now I'm trying to heal this thing in myself. Later, I made the connection that it's like, every time I saw me with this person, I was on the left side. And it's like, if we go back to the right as the masculine side and the left as the feminine side, then it kind of makes sense. But then it was just like this overwhelming revelation of like the reason I was pissed was that's my spot. This chick's in my fucking spot. It's like, okay, so this crazily makes sense, right? I mean, it sounds completely off the chain, because what business do you have in having these feelings when you don't actually know the person? But all the same, it's something we're working through. I'm just wondering, these lights in front of me aren't looking like they're working on coming on either, so I might have to find a new spot here shortly. But anyway, and it's like, okay, so like the twin flame, the idea of it is one soul split in two bodies, right? So two incarnations of the same soul essence at one time. Occupying physical space of their own, but yet still being the same soul essence, right? So, God, I really wish my stomach would stop making noises. It's very communicative, especially since, I've had other videos in the past where, I had my elbow on my knee and then ended up feeling like that was amplified in the video later. It's like, I don't think that'll be the case because I'm pretty sure I haven't been sitting like that, but I don't know. It's still annoying. But anyway, so, and there's this story on the idea of, okay, so for twin flames, the idea of, I don't remember why there was the split that separated them, but it was like, I saw it explained through like this little cartoon drawing, and it's got like this huge group of people, and they all have like different symbols on their chest or whatever, and they're looking for the one that matches theirs, and they're just moving through spending their whole time trying to find their match, right? So it's like, this makes sense for me. Because as I've said many times, if I had realized there was some validity to the connection that I have felt since I was like 4, when I've talked about feeling like he was checking in with me before he incarnated, right? So I was 4. If I realized, if anything in my life had encouraged genuine spirituality and trusting your intuition and not the brainwashing of patriarchy and, political bullshit and religion, if I would have had that instinct to trust myself, I never would have had most of the connections with people that I have had that have been toxic for me, because I would have valued myself more than that and not tried to diminish myself to just be with somebody, right? But it's like all these ways throughout my entire life where I was constantly learning to be less me, to be able to have connections, to have friends in my life, and, all that stuff. It's like, I would never have done that. Like, if I would have believed that this was a legitimate thing that I have come to realize that it is, and that realization has been this version of me that is doing the YouTube thing, that has spent all my time in this space doing my healing work by myself. Like this version of me doesn't exist without him existing. Is that connecting with his energy through social media the first time that really started making it so I had to do the work, right? So then all these things start falling into place, and it's like, I don't know what is going on here, but something is clearly going on, and all I can do is go with it. And it might sound crazy, so maybe we're just going to keep a lot of it to ourselves, but we'll share with the freaking world on the internet. And, whoever may or may not see it, which is kind of funny because, like, as of right now, this is August 26th, 2025, I do not have a friend group. I have, like, the only people that I talk to at all about anything, substantially, my brother, one aunt, and one cousin. And my cousin and I haven't been talking as much here lately. Once she moved back home from Chicago, I think she realized that wasn't her favorite course of action. She's spending a lot of time with her boyfriend. But it's like we still send each other stuff on occasion, but not near as much as we were. And then my brother just moved to Oklahoma, so we still talk, but, it's still not like it was when he was here. When he was in this space, also very aware of the toxic family drama that was still going on. And then my aunt, I don't remember what we did I think we went on a walk. Then we got ice cream, and then she decided we should go for lunch. It's like, well, I'm down. Whatever. So it's like when she walks with us, like, I don't mind it, but here lately it feels different. And I think part of it is she's still ass deep connected with everything with, like, my mom and my grandma, and she knows that I'm disconnecting, and she's talked about, she hopes that I don't walk away from everybody. And it's like, she honestly is going to be, like, the hardest one. She's the one that I would feel bad disconnecting from entirely. And, yet when we go do our normal things, and then we went to lunch, it's like, this just feels different. It's like there's something about it. It feels like maybe it's in the realization for her that I am trying to disconnect fully, where she is getting, because the energetic cord, y'all, so she is getting somehow, more pressure in the fact that, that my brother's gone and I'm getting ready to not be there. Like, however I'm going to get out of there, whenever I'm going to get out of there, I don't know. But at some point, this is done. And so it feels like maybe like those other energies are trying to still get at me through her, but not through anything she's doing. It's just, I don't know, it just seemed like she was kind of, honestly, okay, flakier. We'll go with that. And I've talked about how when my grandfather was in the hospital, my mom and her sister were it was like they were getting increasingly ditzy. And I felt like, and feel like still, a big part of that is, man, these lights just really aren't looking like they're coming on. That a big part of that is he was sucking the life out of them, right? So because they all have these energetic agreements, I pulled my energy back and started setting boundaries, and my brother pulled his energy back and started setting boundaries, but nobody else had this stuff that they were working on, right? So they were completely unaware of what was going on. So it's like you just see everybody start getting ditzier and ditzier, like they're genuinely just pouring out their cup completely, trying to keep him alive longer. It's like nothing about that is healthy. But of course, my grandma's still alive, and my mom and her sister are over there a lot, and the other sister's connected with her a lot, of course, because that's their mother, and she doesn't have her husband anymore, so now they have to all take care of her, and they all have to pay attention to her and see what's going on and that bullshit. And since I don't want anything to do with her, she doesn't have access to my energy. However, in brief moments that I'm around, it's like she flips the switch and she's trying to, yay, she's back, let's latch back on, and like she can't, right? So like when I was over there with her on Sunday, I don't know if I talked about this in this video or one of the many that I deleted. Today is my grandfather's birthday, right? The dead guy. Thank God he's dead, right? That guy. So Sunday, my aunt had a little memorial birthday party, I guess if you will. And, there was cake and ice cream for Daddy's birthday, but the bigger part was she used her part of the inheritance to get a sunroom put on to the back of their house and wanted to show it off. So I went mainly because I wanted to see what the house looked like after they got the room put on. It was a really nice room. I like sunrooms. Love me a good sunroom, damn it. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time with the family. Like when I got there, people were mainly in that room. I did sit in there with them. After that, I ended up going outside and wasn't around very much. When I decided to leave, my grandma was like, "Oh, great, you can take me home." And of course, my immediate thought is, I don't want to. And I was like, "Are you ready to leave?" And then my mom's like, looking at her like, "Why would you do that? Like, we're still visiting and all this stuff." Pulling out the full grandpa stops that, everything he would have done, my mom is now doing, right? Why you want to leave for? And all this crap. Anyway, even though it was usually his idea to leave those things early anyway. But yeah, and I just looked at her and said, "It looks like I don't think I even looked at her. I just said, "It looks like your oldest has a problem with that." And, while they were discussing, I started backing up. And my dad says, "Oh, can I get a ride with you?" And it's like, I don't care. It's like, I'm going now, so if you're ready, go, because I'm leaving. And he started wanting to move in that direction, and he's like, "Oh no, I'll stay." It's like, yes. I think a big part of that was because energetically I was like, I don't want that to happen. 4444. like today, we had dinner, and then my mom, okay, I did not, okay, my mom fixed dinner. It was spaghetti. Now, I have talked many times about how I will not, like, I don't touch the kitchen table anymore as far as putting stuff on it because there's so much shit there all the time, and I'm tired of moving shit just so I have a space to sit. Since it's not my stuff, I'm not messing with it anymore. You know, I've set my boundaries. Like, I clean the room that my stuff is in because I have stuff in it, right? And so part of it is my problem because my stuff is in there. But aside from that, if their stuff, you know, I've talked many times about how the more I just watched, you know, I was noticing that part of the issue was when I had stuff somewhere, like, okay, my skate stuff that I set out to dry on my dog crates. You know, then my dad would come through and throw a blanket over, like his blanket over top of it, or put his dirty coffee cups up there with my stuff, or, oh, now the lights are coming on. Or, these ones anyway, that lot might be dark again. But his stuff, you know, or his jacket, like, it started creeping into my stuff. It's like, I don't like this. And it was like, you know, I would do so much cleaning and then I would have to come to a screeching halt and take time to recover. And as I was recovering from having exerted so much energy, then I would step back. And while I was stepped back, I would realize their stuff's creeping in. So it's like realizing that part of the reason that I had so much stuff that I didn't need or want was a means of building a barrier between me and them, right? So their stuff's not just all encroaching upon my stuff all the time, right? So that was my way to block it, was to have a bunch of my own crap, you know. And then as I started clearing that out, it's like, I'm not okay with their crap creeping in and imposing itself upon me, right? So yeah, so I'm getting more disconnected, very much more disconnected. And, you know, like the other day, I don't even remember, I think I was like, I put a drink on the table and was getting ready to sit there to eat, and there was just so much shit on the table. It was like, you know, and I said something about it. My mom just goes, well, clean it off. It's like, no, because it's not mine. And because that's exactly what you want me to do. You want me to be cleaning up after you all the time, so I don't have the capacity to realize that this is not what I want to do. It's like, once you start doing it, then it just becomes this thing where they're forever dumping more shit in, and I'm getting depleted trying to clean up the mess that's not even mine to clean up. Right? So when I started setting boundaries and stopped just cleaning all that stuff up, well, I mean, it's noticeable that they don't like me near as much as they used to. Well, and even then, they didn't really ever like me. It was just they could make me do stuff at my own expense. So now that that's not a thing, it's kind of annoying for them. But like, yeah, today, so, okay, so the table, right? So mom makes dinner. There is no space to sit at the table other than, like, well, I mean, there's 3 spots theoretically until she put the food there. And then I was supposed to move something so I could sit there. And it's like, it's still not my stuff. You know, she still keeps buying stuff, and my dad just throws stuff on the table and leaves his dirty shit all over the place all the time. It's like, I'm not doing that. You know, my stuff is not on the table. Unless I am getting food together, which I usually take in the other room. You know, so when there's no room for me at dinner tonight, I get my plate and then I go in the other room, right? I stopped and I, like, filled my cup, and when I started walking off, she's like, well, I can clear you a spot. It's like, nope, don't worry about it. And I left, right? I went back into my office, which is where I normally eat now. I like my company better anyway. But then, I was watching something. I was watching a White Tiger Tarot reading while I was eating. And while I'm sitting there, my mom says, or she says my name from the other room. And I said, what? And she said, can you take this plate over to Grandma? And I said no, but I didn't say it where she could hear me. But she received it loud and clear. And I say that because, I was just very much, she said that, and I was like, no. And, it wasn't loud enough to hear me in the other room. But I think she received the message because, after I was done and went to the bathroom or whatever and was getting ready to leave, then I realized she'd already left to go over there and take it, which was funny because as I was going through this whole scenario in my head, I was like, the reason you want me to go over there is because you are trying to make it so she can latch onto my energy again. It's like, that's also the reason you don't want to go because, she and her sisters were on the phone the other day. They were talking on speakerphone. It was all three of them on this, whatever you call the conference call, right? So they're all talking, and I hear them all talking about how mean she is and how negative and how they don't want to be around her, but at the same time, it's Mom and we got to take care of her and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, y'all are seeing this now, finally, but it's literally just because me and my brother have taken our energy back and not poured it out for them. The stuff that my grandma's doing with this meanness that is in her now, it's like, that was always there. She was just enjoying the fact that my brother and I had better energy that she did, and she was hijacking our energy, so she seemed less awful. But now that she can't access us, she's awful. So, fuck it, I don't care. And, yeah, so, anyway, watch that, the White Tiger Tarot reading that I was watching earlier. She was talking about the upcoming solar eclipse, I think, and there were two piles that I was drawn to. And the first one, it was kind of funny, she's talking about, a big ending, and, something big is coming to a close, and it's like, you will have a new life. It's like, yes, I feel that. I know it's coming soon. And it's like, everything in me is like, it's just disconnecting from this family shit, right? So there's nothing more for me here. It's just the disconnection process. And I think the biggest part of why I'm still here right now is because I still got to do the thing and, move in the way I know that I can move. When I started this YouTube thing, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I could talk to the thing and post it and not freak out about it and all that shit. But, yeah, it's working out for me. And then the other one was talking about new soul group or new friends coming in, like the soul group and everything. It's like, yes. Get rid of this old bullshit and let's bring on the new. I'm so ready for it. She kept talking about fives showing up. She had 3 different cards in a row that were fives, or 32 and 23, which of course 2 and 3, 3 and 2, those both amount to fives, and then an actual 5. It's like, yep. And of course that's one that I keep seeing a lot too. So yeah. But I don't know. I will say, I slept really good on that bed last night, the new bed. And, shit, maybe that's part of it. I did not, however, think to, spray it with the sage spray or anything to clear it out for that guy. So hopefully, maybe he'll just, maybe the wind will beat the bad energy out of it, the bad juju. That'd be fine. But, yeah, so it's just interesting how, changing little things changes big things. And, every time I get rid of something, it's like, ooh, and then, of course, getting a little bit more cash in my pocket as well. It's like, okay, I said the other day, it's like, if I come up with like $200, then I can pay everything through the first week of September. Of course, I didn't think about like the 3 student loans that I have. But okay, this is going to sound shitty and I don't care. So, for my 3 remaining student loans, these are ones that are co-signed with my mom and dad. For the college that I wasn't given the opportunity to do immediately or not. It was just mom's greatest regret that she didn't go to college after high school because, she got married and had me and my brother instead. So we weren't allowed to do anything but go to college because it was her biggest regret. We had to make up for that, right? So it was like, when I've been thinking about it, it's like, if I could have done things my way, since I didn't know what I wanted to do, I probably would have taken some time to, just take time, right? Have time where I was covered by my parents' insurance and whatnot, and that wasn't a problem. I didn't have all these things to be concerned about to figure it out. That wasn't the opportunity I was given. I was told I had to go do this thing. I didn't know what I wanted to learn about. So I chose a path that, psychology and religious studies. Religious studies because I was into religion at that point in time and trying to understand it more. Psychology because I figured maybe I'll figure myself out. That was literally what went into that. And then I had double majors. I went ahead and had double minors too. So interpersonal relations, mainly because when I was jumping between different majors, the first couple semesters, there were some classes that counted for multiple things, and it ended up, I had enough for this interpersonal relations minor. So it's like, all right, throw that in there because my classes count to it. And then also creative writing, because that was something I felt like I was supposed to be doing at some level, but I didn't really know what about, so it was giving me an opportunity to explore it, right? So while these things have been useful, it still wasn't what I would have chosen for myself immediately, or at least if I would have been able to take a couple years off before I went and, maybe say, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. And when I was in high school, part of the psychology was I had a psychology class with a teacher that I really liked, who went to the church that we went to, of course, because everybody does, or did. He's also my aunt, the aunt that escaped the compound. He's her neighbor. I think he's down a couple houses. But yeah, like, real cool guy. And it's like, it was interesting when he taught it. Maybe it'll be interesting when other people teach it too, right? I don't know. It's worth a shot, I guess. So, yeah. Okay, I will say, while I'm not going to say this is the best video I've ever done by any means, I feel better about it than, like, the dozen or however many starts that I had that didn't go anywhere and that I ended up deleting. But there's still a really good chance that I might go home and, take a salt bath and clear my energy to make sure I don't go to bed with all this blah in my system. But I think talking through it has helped. So there's that. Part of the purpose of my channel. It's kind of like the, like my walls that I painted in my room, right? So the first one where I was like kind of more motivated on what I was doing, it's like I knew I decided it was going to be like a, one of those, what's it called? I don't know, the wall that's different. Whatever that is. The one that pops from everything else. I figured it would be like that. It was going to be one that had this nice, pretty background. And then, after I did that, it's like, but I really liked doing this, and I liked how it turned out. So then I wanted to carry it over. But the problem was, I was around my family, And I didn't get to skate to clear the bad energy from my system before I started painting, because I was thinking, I want to get this done so I can get my room back so I can use it, right? Because at that time it was my office. And, like, I had my desk over on this one corner, and I wanted to put it on this other wall, the wall that I painted with the tree. So I painted that section first, and then once I moved the desk, then it's like, well, I want to paint this too, I think. So then I ended up working my way around, but it's like after the first wall and a half, like the first wall and a half were great. Excuse me. The next 2.5 walls sucked. And it was all because I didn't take the time to skate first, because I was trying to get it done so I could get the next section done. Right? So for the second wall and a half, and then the last wall, which I had a bird cage on, and it's like, well, maybe I do want to paint that too. Like, I wasn't going to, because it had birds in front of it, but then it was like, I can move that and then put it back. So I did. But yeah, like the last 2.5 walls were absolute chaos. I was like, I don't have a problem with how they turned out. I actually really like how they turned out, because it's one of those things that it's like my own divination tool. So I painted the pretty things that I liked first, and then it got more chaotic because I wasn't clearing it from my system. So then, as I sit in my room at night and I can just kind of stare at the walls and then like make connections. Like, when I first realized that was the chaos that I felt that was in my system, and it was like, now that it was out of my system, I felt like I could finally breathe. And it's like, okay, where's this chaos coming from? Well, then that goes down the path of realizing how energetically draining my family has always been, right? So it's like, ugh, fuck. And then, of course, because of that, I realized that, one of the things that I do in my existence is negative, dense energies stick to me, and then I have to figure out what to do with that. There's a kid over here riding his bike, and it's like, I don't know where his people are, but he's in the section where it's going to not be lit up here in a minute, because, it's not lit up, but, it's still, sun's still up. Oh, there's a car over there, apparently. They'll figure it out. But yeah, like, once I got all of that out of my system, then it's like, I felt that in my system. Now that it's not in my system and I can see it, it's like, wow. Like the clarity that I can find, because that's not stuck to me now. Right? So it's like this video thing is kind of like that. So like the ones I kept trying and it kept not working, and I just was like, I feel like I'm about ready to fall asleep. And it's like, what is that all about? It's like, well, this freaking dense energy that's, I spent too much time earlier in the day on, like, noticing or paying attention to some of the, the social media stuff that was coming across my path. Like, I saw this video that there are the veteran pages that I've been following here lately. See, one's Jolly Good Ginger, USArmyOverlord, and USMCangryveteran. It was like I started following their page, their Instagram stuff, and yesterday they had this. He was a sergeant first class, I believe. They said he was, served 20 years in the Army, combat vet, and the pedo-in-chief apparently was trying to sign some order to make it illegal to burn a flag. So he said, I fought for this right. It was his demonstration. He had this whole thing that, he fought for this right, so for every single one of us. And so he was going to use that right because, the pedo-in-chief was trying not to allow that to be a thing because, it's trying to hijack our free speech and all that. So yesterday they had the video of him burning the flag and getting arrested. And then today they had some follow-up stuff that I came across where apparently the Secret Service is now harassing his family, trying to get information about him. And he said he only knew that because they accidentally called him thinking it was his wife's number. And, they were trying to get information about him. It's like, interesting. And, of course, they wouldn't ask him questions. They wanted to talk to his wife. So when he said something about, don't you want to ask me questions? They said, no, you can have a good day. Or whatever. And it's like, interesting. So I was watching, like, that kind of stuff. It's like, still, it's that dense energy, and giving it any kind of attention sticks in my system. So yeah, I'm gonna have to clear that because it ain't working for me. But yeah, that's kind of. On the other hand, like I said, getting through like the it was like rough drafts. So I kept trying to do videos. I did at least 2 that were like 20 minutes, one that was like 15 minutes, and then another couple that were like 5 to 10. And it was like, this just is not working. And then I had like several starts, and I was like, nope, still not there. So I made it a lot further on this one. Can't say it's necessarily any good, but hey, it's at least out of my system. So there's that. But yeah, I'm going to go home and probably do the bath thing, but also need to, I'm tired today. I just kind of want to go to bed. So that's kind of also on the agenda. But still got to watch the video and see what I got to tag. And then, before I do anything else, get it posted. All that fun stuff. But if I quit, then I'll be shorter than normal too. So there's that. And it's like 8:30. So it'll still probably be normal time when I get to bed or whatever. But hopefully tomorrow I'll do better than this. But maybe I'll actually get to that other piece that I'm thinking through. It's like in my head percolating, and yeah, I'll figure it out. But before my lighting completely disappears and I end up, trying to be here again, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So as always, I appreciate you. Until the next time, see ya.